when we speak value premises, so value premises deal with 4 things. Politics has given rise to politics. कितना पैसा बेकार किया पेरेंट्स का, remember endogenous changes and exogenous changes. Political culture is a topic which is not given in any book. Any book in the sense it is in public administration book, it is not given. It is given in political science book. So you can buy for one topic, or you read what we have written in printed notes. So we have given political culture as a topic there, so you can read it. That's why I have specifically mentioned it. R.K. Aurora will talk. It is a good, let's say, book. It will talk this, since it talks, you read the books, let's say, this R.K. Aurora book rather than printed notes. It has also given constitutionalism now. In past, it did not give. If you have the present edition book, it gives constitutionalism. So that we can say. Plus, they will be provided in model answers. So that way also you can do this. And to improve your knowledge, if you want to know better aspect of constitution, so you should read D.D. Basu rather than Lakshmikant. Anyhow, I will not give you tension. No, it is up to you. So, because D.D. Basu is more conceptual, it has certain standard. Your knowledge in polity will not improve unless you read such types of books. Kaam Chalao for examination you can get by Lakshmikant. Yes, the choice is yours. Anyhow, it is not written in any book, so you can focus if it is given in printed notes, or you can give in model answer. Yes, or we will have some of the discussion that way. So this is how we can say related to this chapter. This chapter may not be also regular. Every year they may ask question. This, although yes, if you take the first 2 topics, they can ask, but let's say occasionally they will ask from political culture and bureaucracy development and bureaucracy and democracy like this. So that is what we can talk on this. So let's start on that aspect. We start with constitution. When we speak value premises, so value premises deal with four things. But these are the four components of the Constitution which enshrine the values of, or values you can say, or ideals of governance. This, that way we refer it, and we talk that what are the relevance, importance, means we can consider in terms of value premises. We don't have to teach like GS paper. This GS paper you have to study in details. Here we have to only deal in values term. They are values, you know that. They have importance. They guide administration. Negative, administration does not follow. Way forward, it should follow. That's all. Isn't it? सही है? So that is how you can find this. So you don't have to go in details the way in GS you have to study in details about all these things. This, before that, basic thing is Constitution. You know it? No. By the way, what is Constitution? This is a set book of laws and regulations. Supreme law of land. This written set of law through which country is governed. This. So that way it can be considered. So this is how we define Constitution. Right? This. What is the difference between written and unwritten Constitution?
It's not combined in a proper bookish form.
Any other difference? Yes, in?
They can go beyond the rules and regulations.
And in written?
Adhere to the rules and regulations.
Why Constitution is needed? Yes.
To limit the arbitrary actions of the state. To limit the arbitrary actions of the state.
Limit the arbitrary actions of state. Protecting the. This should not be anarchy. Why UK does not have written constitution? By the way, does UK have constitution? Yes, it has constitution. Yes. So this is what, let's say, whatever the basic aspects you know. The good, you are aware about some of the things. So constitution, when we say that, basically constitution is a legal document which deals with machineries of the government or system of government. Or constitution is a legal document which deals with system of polity. You can say that. By the way, what is difference between polity and constitution?
Polity is how to govern and constitution is what boundaries one.
It's polity is structure of government. Constitution is power.
What is difference between polity and politics?
Polity is structure of government. Politics is power. Exercise the power lies. Exercise politics is philosophy.
Mhm. Yes.
So in polity there are elected members are there, but in politics all are involved, whether they are elected.
Politics is by criminals, polity is by. Politics has given rise to polity. Yes. And constitution and polity is that polity is about system of government, and when that system of government is led by a rule book, this that is constitution. The constitution is the rule book or legal document through which polity is structured, organized, given power, and set limitations. The limitations are set. That way you should understand. Right. Then evolution of constitution, let's say. So why evolution of, when we had evolution of constitution? When our evolution of constitution started? Yes. First Amendment Act. Evolution of constitution.
This was started is written constitution
In US,
not in US.
Israel. Right. When Indian constitution has its root of evolution, means when Indian constitution, evolution we talk, evolution of Indian constitution. Oh. कितना पैसा बेकार किया पेरेंट्स का, है? 1773 regulating act 1773, right? लक्ष्मीकांत में वहां पे हेडिंग यही लिखा है, एवोल्यूशन ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. Anyhow, so it started with that because it was first legal document to govern. You should know that. Regulating Act 1773 was first legal document. This is how it converts now, political and administrative unit. East Indian Company starts working as political and administrative unit. So that way we say that it is legal document which is further strengthened and finally 1935 Act. Yes. And finally written constitution. Yes. Anyhow, these are all things. Basically, we have to understand not only just constitution. Understanding constitution is not as challenging as, let's say, that understanding the relevance or rationale behind constitution. That understanding is important. So we need to understand the rationale behind constitution, why we started talking, why modern society started talking about constitution. So constitution is, let's say, a product of evolution of development of modern society. And when constitution started evolving, so it basically started questioning the authoritarian power, absolute power, this. And when any country adopts a written constitution, so basically it limits the power of the government, this. So modern polity, you know that evolution of modern polity or modern times, it starts with rationality. rationality. Rise in level of rationality gave rise to also modern polity. This and the rise in level of rationality means we will talk more and more equality in society. Yes. So society is still not equal, you know that how society is divided in different, let's say that segments, caste, religion, community and all these things. And when there was monarchical system, so even in our country, you know that when East Indian Company starts taking control over Indian affairs, it wants to regulate its affair by law. The law gives power, and gradually that law may give more power, no doubt. But still, the day you adopt a law, it limits the power. The day you write power, it limits the power. If power is not written, it is unlimited. If power is written, even if it is unbound, but still it is limited. That's why you say rule book. When government is governed by a rule book, that rule book is called constitution. So that way we can take it. So this is how it started evolving, and that evolution we trace it from Magna Carta 1215. The first written document which guided the authority of the king. That the king should exercise authority in the interest of people. And that Magna Carta is gradually evolved into different charters, etc., etc. Finally, you have different such ideas, which we'll talk when we'll take constitutionalism. There we'll talk you some all those backgrounds. Here it is not needed. We simply can start with constitution. So, when a written constitution is adopted, so any constitution is not just a product of when it was adopted. Several provisions of that constitution that we adopt, they have their, let's say that roots, and those roots can even go to ancient time. Yes. So several such practices we may have which can be considered some good practices. They have evolved and let's say they have been incorporated in that legal document. Hence, constitution of any country is not born in a year, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years, let's say that. It will be born in a over, let's say, a long duration. And then it will try to incorporate some good practices in that constitution. Especially it will talk about structure of the government, that is called machineries of the government. Its power means the authority, how it should exercise, and let's say that what should be the objectives and the rights of the citizen. If you elaborate the definition, so definition may go into, let's say that, incorporating many things, but in simple way we say that it is a legal document which deals with machineries of the government. That way we can talk, and that is how we can say constitution. It can be written, it can be unwritten. A written constitution is that we have a deliberate attempt to adopt a constitution. Why we write a constitution? So that the constitution should have some of the provisions which, let's say that, limit the power of the state. It should somehow guarantee that even the state cannot, let's say take away the rights of the people. Means it should have some provisions which should ensure that people enjoy some rights and government does not become absolute. This, because constitution was evolved in the context of, let's say, absolute state or monarchical state. Hence, constitutional, let's say, characteristics means the characteristics of constitution, or how good constitutional characteristics are will be judged on the basis of this, whether constitution is able to limit the power of the government. So this way it will have several such provisions and idea that we can consider, and that's why it becomes let's say, necessary to write a constitution. Written constitution is a trend, not unwritten constitution. Because that when you write the constitution, so then you try to adopt the supreme law of the land. So a written document is considered fundamental law of the land or supreme law of the land. All other such laws in that country before that written document, after that written document would be subordinate to that written document. That will be the fundamental law. That's why most of the countries try to adopt a written constitution rather than leaving it to the government to be governed by different laws. so that that law becomes the fundamental law of the land. That is how the difference between written constitution and unwritten constitution. That's why when you define constitution term, you should not use fundamental law of the land. Otherwise, basically you are defining not constitution, rather you are defining written constitution. Simply you should say a rule book which guides polity of a, let's say, state, or it is a legal document which deals with the machineries of the government. Now, unwritten constitution is exception. Why it is exception? So, UK is the only major country which has unwritten constitution. This you should know. Israel is also a country which has unwritten constitution. But UK is the land where both evolved. If you talk in modern liberal term, democracy and constitution. US may be the land which adopted the first written constitution. But UK is the land where that constitutional system developed. Not in US. It is the UK, because it is the UK which had developments like Magna Carta 1215, then petition bill, let's say that petition, Bill of Right you can consider, then this called concept of rule of law. In fact, you should know that, very interesting that we many a time we speak sarcastically. All the legal experts, most of the legal experts, political experts, they belong to UK. All the philosophers, etc., they belong to German or France. That is how you'll find this. And US mastered them. So the country which benefits is US. So this way, so be it, let's say JS Mill you take, JS Mill, Bentham, they are the political philosophers, they belong to UK. Rule of law, A.V. Dicey belong to UK. Beghardt belong to UK. In fact, most of the constitutional books have been written by UK scholars. So that way it is the UK, because rule of law is foundation of any constitution. That way we can consider. Hence, it has never felt any necessity to write a constitution. Kyun? People have in their mind and heart constitution. उन्होंने memorize कर लिया है. So they have in their mind and heart. You remember endogenous changes and exogenous changes. So it is the land where it evolved. Glorious War, you know that? First revolution 1688. लोगों और राजा के बीच में लड़ाई होता है. मतलब मान लो बच्चों की कहानी जैसा है, isn't it? लड़ाई होता है. लोग इसलिए लड़ाई लड़ते हैं अपने राइट के लिए. This is called glorious war. And secularism के लिए. This secularism foundation is equality. And they reject theology, Christianity, this in politics. Glorious war they have fought for. That is also foundation of secular, let's say that, foundation of any constitution. And they reject theology, they reject monarchy. And this is called English Revolution, which is less known. People know more French Revolution and American Revolution. They know less about English Revolution, which happened 1 century before French Revolution. Yes, because French Revolution happened in 1776 and English Revolution happened in 1688. This.